Oh, there are so many exciting things to look forward to in the land of self-publishing. This past week, we talked about Kobo Plus launching the US and UK. Oh, rights versus copyrights. There's somebody who's actually covering it. And the Kindle Direct Publishing Global Select Program, actually has a pretty decent amount of earnings this time around. We're going to be talking about that, all that and more in self-publishing news for April the 17th, 2023.
Learn how to publish books and build your author business with award-winning author and self-publishing consultant Dale L. Roberts. This is the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast.
Let's just jump right into things. One thing that I'm really excited about, and it kind of sounds weird coming from me because I'm not a big fan of steamy romance or any of that type of stuff, but I think it's important that we just bring to light here from Binge Books. Binge Books actually is a platform I recommend for readers and authors to take a look at, especially if you are a fiction author. You want to look into them. But at any rate, they're actually going to be having a live author chat with E.L. James as we reread the Mr. This is on April 25th at 4 p.m. We'll welcome groundbreaking romance author E.L. James. Now, if you're not familiar with E.L. James, she is famously known for self-publishing her book, 50 Shades of Grey. Oh, not many people realize 50 Shades of Grey in the series originally started out self-published. Within a year, she was actually able to land a trad pub deal, and the rest is history. But now E.L. James is going to be spending some time and sharing some of her insights with other romance authors as a part of this sit-down chat here. Binge Books is putting this one together. I will be there. I actually was so excited. I told my wife about it. I was like, yeah, we're going to go on over, check it out, because I think it's really cool when you can kind of learn from somebody who has been in the self-publishing route and is now building out her own imprint. So this is super exciting news. So make sure you get yourself signed up as per usual. All these links are going to be inside the show notes. You can check them out. Speaking of news and information, I picked up a couple of items of news this week here by way of the Hot Sheet. Now, if you're not familiar with the Hot Sheet, go over to hotsheetpub.com. That is Jane Friedman's weekly email newsletter that she shares with you all the information within the world of writing and publishing. And this particular week, she actually had a spicy piece put out about James Patterson. Before I get into that one right here, there was one she discussed about ads for audiobooks. Now, this has been one of my biggest qualms when it comes to actually publishing through something like ACX. Now, there are many other qualms, but we are not able to, through Amazon advertising, do any type of ads for audiobooks. Apparently, there are some publishers that are being allowed some access to advertising their Audible books. Oh my goodness. This has got me excited more than ever, because this means that now, instead of trying to rely on, say, Facebook or Google ads or YouTube ads or anything else like that, we can actually start to tap into something like, say, Amazon advertising to run ads to our Audible audiobooks. Now, what's the big spicy news about James Patterson? This is fairly interesting when James Patterson, now if you're not familiar, let me go ahead and pull you out from underneath the rock here. James Patterson is a very famous author, all right? And he tweeted out most recently, I recently wrote New York Times a letter about them cooking the books on their bestseller lists. They told my publisher they didn't rely on just raw sales, and I put raw in quotations here, folks, and they refused to run the letter, but you, dear reader, can read it here. Please spread the word. Let me go ahead and just give the TLDR on this one here. The New York Times Bestseller List, folks, it's an editorial list, meaning that it is not an actual real account of the best-selling books throughout, say, the United States. What it does is it gets a list of the books that have sold really well, and then they hand pick and hand curate those things. Well, James Patterson, who's been on the New York Times best-selling list a number of times, just most recently launched a nonfiction book that sold really, really well. It didn't show up on that New York Times bestseller list, and he was a little bit tweaked. He was very upset about it, and you can actually read an entire thread there that actually he put together, and you can read the whole thing. It's very well put together. I think there needs to be a lot more awareness built on this one, and if you are an author, spread awareness of this to other authors as well as even readers to understand that the New York Times bestseller list is not really the best-selling list that you would think it is. It's not all that in a bag of chips here, folks. Sorry to use that old dated term, but that's the age that I am, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it nonetheless. Yeah, so James Patterson went ahead and called them out over on Twitter because that appears to be the platform to go ahead and call people out there. All right, let's move a little further forward here. Yes, so not too long ago, Brandon Sanderson actually drew a line in the sand, and he pretty much said, hey, look, Audible, not cool. He's not happy with some of the practices that they have done with authors. Now, this is not just traditionally published authors. This is with indie authors. And there's another author as well that is bringing light to this one, Cory Doctorow. Now, Cory Doctorow chronicles this whole thing in a Publishers Weekly article discussing why he's not touching Audible. He's not going there. Even though they control 90% of the audiobook market, he just doesn't want to bother with it. And one of the reasons why Cory actually doesn't like the fact that they put a digital rights management without the ability to refuse that. All right. So if you're not familiar with digital rights management, it's essentially a way to lock usage of a particular downloadable content, be it ebook or audiobook. And so at any point, that specific platform that you picked it up from can revoke the rights from you to consume that content. Now, I've not had that happen to myself, but let's just say, for instance, I buy your audiobook one day, and let's say 10 years from now, I want to go ahead and look at that. Maybe they've already pulled the DRM on that one. So then I'm out of luck. And that kind of sucks. Now, will that happen? And does that happen? I don't know. But to say the least, it should be allowed by the author to choose whether or not DRM is actually applied to their ebook or their audiobook. But Audible doesn't allow for that. Very good piece. I don't want to sit here and spout all the things that Cory covers inside this article. Definitely, you'll want to go ahead and take a look at this. Hey, as a heads up, Findaway Voices more recently actually just announced that they are going to do away with Authors Direct. That was a way to sell your audiobooks through their platform of Authors Direct, because now Findaway Voices is utilizing their parent company, Spotify, for audiobook distribution. I love the pivot towards that direction. I didn't like the fact that I spent $90 to get distribution through Authors Direct, but they're making it good with you. Authors Direct refund information. We'll be processing the refund for your Authors Direct storefront tomorrow via your original payment method. Depending on your bank, it may take 5 to 10 business days for the refund to show up on your statement as a credit. If you do not see a refund by April 28th, please contact us at support@findawayvoices.com. $90, folks. What am I going to do with that $90? I don't know, but I'm feeling kind of crazy right now. Maybe we'll go out and get some tacos. Who wants to join me on that one? Moving a little further forward, coming from the fine folks over at Streetlib. All right, there is a lot of new authors out there that really become overwhelmed by the whole process. In fact, I get a lot of you out there that want me to just handhold you through the process, and I appreciate that. And I do have consultations sometimes. Right now is not the time, but there is a solution. If you want someone to walk you through it, Streetlib will actually do it. And now, obviously, Streetlib's going to do it on their home platform. They're going to help you set up. Their professional team will manage book formatting, ebook conversion, metadata creation, and distribution to marketplaces and online stores. Now, could you be able to do this by yourself? Absolutely. But for the sum of, I think it was like a little less than $500, they will help walk you through that. Now, that is a high ticket, but for those of you out there that don't feel like going and piecing through every piece of information you find online or in my videos or in my podcasts, this is probably going to be the path of least resistance, because then you have someone who is hand-holding you through the entire process. All right, this past week, I actually brought up about how Kobo Writing Life is pretty much announced that Kobo Plus is available in US and UK. Now, Kobo Plus is the equivalent of Kindle Unlimited, all right? It's a subscription-based program that readers can be able to subscribe for a monthly fee of, I think it was $7.99 to $9.99, and they'll be able to read as much as they would like to and return. It's like a library-based system. And they're actually going to be having a live Q&A discussing the Kobo Plus US and UK expansion. This is on April the 20th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on their YouTube channel and on their Facebook page. I highly recommend you take a look at it. I will be speaking with one of the team members, Tara, tomorrow in a private discussion that I will be publishing over on my main channel. So if you want more details about the Kobo Plus expansion and why this is so important for you and how this can really change the game for your distribution methods, definitely make sure you tune into my main channel on YouTube over at dalelinks.com/YouTube. That is my main channel, not the podcast channel. Big deal alert here over at AppSumo. AppSumo has the big deal that I always love. Comes usually about once or twice per year with DepositPhotos. Stock up on premium stock images before it's too late. It's only $39 for 100 credits. I typically grab at least one per year because I use it for things like social media. I use it for graphics, for promotions. I use it for so many different things. Some people use it for graphics for the front cover of their book. Please keep in mind there are some limitations to some of the rights that you actually purchase from DepositPhotos, so make sure you read the fine print. But other than that, though, $39, you can get a hold of this particular deal. It's at selfpublishingwithdale.com/DP. That's for DepositPhotos, selfpublishingwithdale.com/DP. Hey, folks, one of my favorite folks out there is Victoria Strauss. She actually runs a blog called Writer Beware, and she talks a little bit more about rights versus copyright, untangling the confusion. I have so many instances where people don't quite understand the depth of what copyright means to their publications. So rather than bloviating about here on the podcast, because I can do an entire 20-minute segment about copyright alone, what I would recommend is go over to writerbeware.blog and get yourself subscribed to her blog. And it's super, super insightful. And she actually goes even further beyond just US copyright. She looks into UK, Australia, and so forth. All right. The KDP Select Global Fund for March, all right, was $46.1 million. It took a little bit of a dip since Q4 this past year, but it's so minor. I think it was $47 million that we finished out the year. I bet, and I'm just going to talk with me over in Discord about this one right here. I'm going to lay bets on it. Says we break $50 million on the KDP Select Global Fund. This is something that I think that the Kindle Vella team really needs to pay attention to, is how has KDP Select grown so exponentially over the years? Because if they can kind of embrace that model, we could see Kindle Vella grow just the same. Because right now the Kindle Vella pool is about $1 million per month. With 46.1, I think we can say KDP Select's doing something right. I just wish that Kindle Vella would do just the same. $46.1 million. Are you getting your piece of the pie? I hope so. All right, I got a direct message here from a good friend of mine. His name's Kenny Myers. He actually runs a promotion, easy for me to say. He runs a site called ebookfairs.com. And actually, he wanted me to bring to everybody's attention now, not only do authors get access to download entries from the fairs they are in, but they can have them automatically flow into their MailerLite or MailChimp accounts. Woo! Love me some MailerLite. I was talking about them earlier. The same is true with the contact information for reviewers from our ARC program. When the ARC ends, they can either download the contacts or automatically have them flow into their MailerLite or MailChimp account lists. Now, those of you that are not familiar with eBook Fairs is actually a virtual book fair platform, and it's starting to grow and build out things. So for instance, they have the ARC review team now available to it. There's so many free tools and resources on ebookfairs.com. What I would recommend is go take a look at them over at dalelinks.com/ebookfairs. Yes, that's an affiliate link, but I stand behind it because Kenny's a good guy. All right, as we wrap up today's podcast, I think it's time for that shameless self-plug. Check out my new video-on-demand platform called the Self-Publishing Hub, where I've got over 100 different videos exclusive to that platform, as well as some behind-the-scenes footage with Self-Publishing with Dale. You can get that all for $9.99 per month when you visit theselfpublishinghub.com. Remember, you got to put THE at the beginning, theselfpublishinghub.com, and get yourself subscribed. You can subscribe whatever you like. You can cancel any time that you want to. It's month to month. There's no long-term contracts. You can binge it for a month and then just cut it. That's fine. I totally understand. I would do it too as well. But I'm going to tell you, there's some great new content on the horizon that I'll be adding to the Self-Publishing Hub, and I'm just excited to go ahead and give that to you. That is the news for today. What do you think about some of this news? Was there any particular piece of news that I might have missed? Make sure you join me over on Discord to tell me a little bit more about it. Till later, this has been Self-Publishing with Dale, and I will chat with you next week.
You've been listening to the Self-Publishing with Dale podcast. Visit us at selfpublishingwithdale.com for more information on how you can level up your self-publishing business. Also, check out our growing video-on-demand service, chock full of free and premium content, when you head over to theselfpublishinghub.com. If you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving a review on your preferred podcasting platform. We thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.